Greetings to all of you. I'm glad you decided to join me here. How many people truly believe that the world is flat or expanding? Those of whom that believe such nonsense, you really need to get educated. For the rest of us that do not believe such nonsense, I propose a question for you all. Would it change your view of the world and universe if tomorrow proof of life from another world arrived here on Earth? Is it really so hard to imagine life in the great vastness of the universe? After all, using the Hubble Space Telescope we can peer to the edge of the universe, or at least where the edge had been so very long ago. In the area of universal measurements, time and distances reach numbers that are, frankly speaking, stupefyingly enormous. So it would stand to reason that perhaps there are other places in the universe that have life. This may not be life that we would recognize easily, since it does not fit a certain mold that has been created by our own imaginations. Here's another interesting piece that I hope you'll find interesting as well. The advances of medical technology and that lasers have been developed. It's true, using stem cell research, new ears, noses, internal organs, even skin can be grown in days or hours. I'm not talking about the stem cells from unborn fetuses though, that's just disgusting and saddens me. As for lasers, this is the best aspect of what had been science fiction becoming reality. Since 2002, lasers have been in use diffusing bombs and other ordnance from a much safer distance than was previously capable. There is even a gentleman that will build a handheld pulse laser for you to purchase for a reasonable sum. I believe he lives in Germany, although I could be mistaken. Either way, if you want to look it up, please do so. In my lifetime so much has advanced. Nanotechnology, robots, jets and planes that fly without pilots on board. Boats and ships that don't have pilots either, cars that can drive and even park themselves. Laser cutting tools and real-time sights and sounds to any corner of the globe. This is truly a booming time to live in. The future looks increasingly better if not for lack of knowledge for the future. So often now there are children and teens that are unable to read or use basic math skills. Often this is blamed unfairly on the schools and teachers. Yes, there are poor quality teachers, that is not being denied. However, there are teachers that devote so much for such little reward that it is shameful that this is overlooked. Many teachers purchase cases of paper, pencils, crayons and other classroom materials that at one time were furnished by the school or the students themselves. This is because of what is called budgeting. The budgeting part comes from Congress and the states that are putting more and more emphasis on test teaching than actual learning. This has systematically reduced the threshold of knowledge needed for students. This was done because of social advancement. There, I said it. Social advancement is a scam that perpetuates mediocrity. Social advancement is flawed in so many ways, but I'll name the most direct. It forces schools to pass students who cannot speak English, read a book or form basic calculations. This is because the student has learned from their friends or parents that the schools will pass them anyway, so there is no need to learn. Or worse yet, that the teachers must force the students to learn, which in turn gets an otherwise perfectly good teacher labeled a bad teacher. If the United States wishes to increase its standings in the global education arena, the issue is not totally within the schools. Entire generational mindsets must be changed. People must be left behind in order for the whole to survive. This boils down to a simple fact: education begins in the home, it ends with the learner. If there are social pressures to lower the bar time and time again, then why should everyone suffer for it? Let those that don't want to learn fall by the wayside and be forgotten. I make no excuses for what I've said. I meant every word. If there is an issue as a result, that is fine. I still believe in freedom of speech and expression. I believe that all men are created equal. I believe that there must also be winners and losers. There are no medals for participation that one can be proud of. If I fail, then it will be because I did not succeed. If I succeed, it will be because I did not fail. The world is open to new ideas, yes. The world, however, will not support those that force others to carry them because they refuse to walk or crawl. Being dragged kicking and screaming is no way to live one's life. Giving credit and honor to those that break the law only enforces a stigma. This stigma becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that harkens back to social advancement, which in turn reinforces mediocrity. This mediocrity harms the future because technological advances will stagnate because of a lack of knowledge. So this may be a golden age, a time when we could see and experience the cusp of a reality only dreamed about before it is stolen away. Our future would be stolen by those that are not educated enough to realize they are being used. These same individuals become easy fodder for lies that make them feel good and harm rather than actually help and are true. One cannot simply think good thoughts and have good things suddenly happen. If such were true, then everyone would be trillionaires and live in their own worlds. Since that is not reality, it is time to stop pretending because it is not helping. I'm not saying do not dream and pretend. If such helps with your life, then please, by all means do it. However, sitting at home and getting drunk and then complaining that everyone doesn't take you seriously because they smell alcohol on your breath, will not help you. Stating that you cannot get ahead because of someone or something is holding you back, yet you have never sought to actually do anything is a lame excuse. Those that do this allowed social advancement to steal from them. Theft is still theft no matter how large or small. If you take something from someone else that is not yours, it is still theft and you should be punished for it. Social advancement has stolen education from those that seek knowledge. It has stolen intelligence from the minds of future generations. It has stolen so many things and replaced it all with mediocrity and a desire to force others to carry the few. These are the ones we should be rising up against, not the teacher who spends 18 hours a day grading papers and figuring out how to keep their job and get mindless mongrels to pass a test. We do not need to hold those that choose to educate themselves responsible for the lives of those that choose to help not. I still believe that in all possibility a good renaissance will come. Generations that had been socially advanced will be forgotten and the world will be a better place for it. I want success. I want for people to want to succeed. I most of all want for social advancement in all forms to be relegated to disrepair and forgotten. I want for students to have desires to learn. I want for teachers to be able to teach actual knowledge and not how to take a test. I want to have a third-grade student point out Afghanistan and Ireland on a map. I want for students to know that 9 times 9 is 81. Or that the fraction 10 over 5 is 2. I want for students to know that Martin Luther King Jr. did not free the slaves. I want for students to know that education is more important than respect on the street. I want for students to realize that an education will take you places. Street respect will trap you. Education comes from the desire to learn. The desire to learn comes from curiosity and imagination. Hence my statement at the opening of this video about life on other worlds. I believe that somewhere in the universe life exists. It may be well advanced of ours or it could be only beginning to form. I don't know this for a fact and I cannot prove it. That does not mean I refuse to believe it. I learned to be curious while I was in school. I learned about the galaxy and the universe. I learned that what works in life is what is used and what doesn't work is forgotten about. I also learned that in order to advance knowledge is key, and that reliance on others is spotty at best. I learned that social advancement is not a worthy venture and that it only perpetuates the dumbing down of the education system. The dumbing down of the education system affects us all and yet still many do not believe this to be true. Just like those that believe the earth is expanding and or is flat. Thank you for taking the time of your day to watch this. I hope you'll understand my views a little. Perhaps even question them with views of your own. Anyway, it's boogie time. Oh yeah, shake that money maker.